The blue light kept getting closer. At first I thought it was another fish. Then the shape began to change. No, not a fish, a person. At least, I thought it was. He wasn't swimming. He was standing beneath the ocean as though the water itself belonged to him. The closer he came, the more impossible he looked. His skin almost shimmered beneath the blue light. His eyes never left mine. There wasn't a single movement that looked human. He was beautiful, almost unnaturally so, like someone had imagined the perfect person and forgotten to make them real. For one ridiculous second, I actually forgot I was terrified. Then, his face changed. It happened so quickly, I almost convinced myself I'd imagined it. His jaw stretched. His eyes darkened. Something ancient, something monstrous, looked back at me. Then, just as suddenly, it was gone. His face was perfect again. My entire body froze. No, what was that? That's when my chest started burning. My lungs. I had forgotten. I wasn't breathing anymore. Panic exploded through me. I tried to swim. Nothing happened. I tried to scream. Only bubbles escaped. My vision blurred around the edges. Everything started growing darker. No, not like this. My body felt strangely light, almost peaceful. I could almost hear my dad laughing. I could almost see my mom smiling. Mom, Dad, is this where I finally see you again? Everything disappeared. Breathe. My eyes fluttered open. The world slowly came back into focus. The pressure in my chest was gone. The burning, gone. I blinked. Once, twice. What? Another breath. Underwater. What happened? The man watched me with quiet curiosity. You stopped breathing. A small pause. So I did not let you die. I just stared at him. Then, it hit me. I had just taken another breath. Another, and another. Underwater. I looked around wildly before looking back at him. Another breath. I'm breathing. My voice barely worked. Thank you. I don't even know how to repay you. The words felt completely ridiculous. How do you thank someone for giving you your life back? An awkward silence settled between us. Okay. I nodded to myself. I'm just gonna leave now. I'll just swim away. He tilted his head. That is not possible. What? Before I could react, he wrapped an arm around me. The world exploded into motion. 1 second we were floating. The next, the ocean blurred around us. I didn't even think water could move that fast. Wait! He stopped as suddenly as he'd started. Everything became still. I barely had time to catch my thoughts before we were moving again, even faster. Ah! The moment I broke the surface, I forgot how to think. For a second, I just floated there. The ocean had gone strangely quiet. No waves, no wind, just silence. I blinked the salt water from my eyes. The cliffs around me seemed taller somehow. The air felt heavier. Then I looked ahead. Fire, dozens of them, floating across the water. My eyes followed the flames until they found the people standing among them. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. They simply stood there, waiting. My heart started racing. What am I looking at? The chanting began. Low, ancient, the kind of sound you don't just hear. You feel it. It settled into my chest. Why did I have to go for a swim today? Then it hit me. Wait, is this some kind of ritual? Another thought came immediately after. One that I really wished hadn't. Am I about to be sacrificed? A quiet laugh drifted beside me. I nearly jumped out of my skin. I'd completely forgotten. I wasn't alone. I turned. He was floating beside me like he'd always been there. Calm, watching me, watching all of it. You think this is funny? The corners of his mouth lifted ever so slightly. No. A pause. Not if you behave. I stared at him. Was that supposed to make me feel better? Nothing, just that impossible calm expression again. I sighed. Okay. I've officially had enough supernatural experiences for one lifetime. So, I pointed toward the open ocean. I'm just going to leave now. I'll forget all of this. I won't tell anybody. I promise. He shook his head once. That is not possible. He looked back toward the ceremony. The chanting grew louder. For nearly 8 seconds, I forgot about everything else. the dancers spun gracefully through the shallow water. The fire reflected across the cliffs. The entire ceremony felt impossibly ancient, like I was watching something no outsider was ever meant to witness. Then, something blue flickered in the corner of my eye. I looked down. My breath caught. The glow beneath my skin was spreading. It had already reached halfway up my arms. No, I rubbed at it. Nothing. The light only grew brighter. No. I splashed water over my hands. Nothing. It kept climbing. My heart started pounding. Help me. I grabbed his arm. Please. What is happening to me? The glow reached my shoulders. I could actually feel it now. Warm, pulsing, alive. There has to be a way to stop this. I'm serious. I don't want this. He remained perfectly calm. The energy is unstable. Then fix it. Take it back. I cannot. Why not? He looked directly into my eyes. Because you died. Everything around me seemed to stop. What? You stopped breathing. I preserved your life. I do not know if you would survive losing the bond. I stared at him. That is the worst thing anyone has ever said to me. Without another word, he stepped closer. Before I could react, he gently kissed me. Warmth rushed through my body. The blue light immediately began to fade. I shoved him backward. Hey, could you maybe warn me before you do that? I looked down. The glow. It was quieter now, still there, but no longer spreading. It's dimmer. He nodded once. If the bond remains stable, the light will eventually disappear. For the first time all night, everything became still. I looked at him, really looked at him. He had saved my life, dragged me across the ocean, brought me here, and somehow, I still didn't know who he was. I never asked. He tilted his head. Asked, your name. A long silence passed, almost as if he wasn't used to the question. Finally, my name is June. June? I nodded slowly. I'm Reina. Another silence. Then I smiled nervously. It's nice to meet you. I just wish it had been literally anywhere else. For the first time, the smallest hint of a smile crossed his face. He stepped closer. The bond will stabilize, and if you allow it. I hesitated. After everything that had happened, I wasn't sure whether I trusted him. But I knew one thing. Without him, I'd already be dead. Okay. I closed the distance between us. His lips met mine once more. Almost instantly, the blue light beneath my skin faded another shade. Hey. I pushed lightly against his chest. I think you got a little carried away. For the first time, he smirked. I looked down. The blue glow was barely visible now. It's almost gone. He nodded once. Remain here. I frowned. You're leaving? I will return. He looked directly at me. Do not attempt to leave. And if I do? Another faint smirk. I will know. A beat. But then I will have to stabilize the bond again. I immediately shook my head. And no thanks. I'll stay. He nodded once. It is my turn. I frowned. Your turn? I have not attended for several centuries. My eyes widened. Several centuries? Before I could ask another question, the ocean began to move. Not the waves, the water around him. It spiraled upward, wrapping around his body until the man beneath. The sea disappeared inside a living column of water. The blue light exploded outward. When it settled, the beautiful stranger was gone. Standing before the ritual was the creature. Ancient, magnificent, terrifying. The chanting stopped. Every torch trembled. Gasps echoed across the shoreline. No one dared move. His voice rolled across the cove. You continue the ritual. Yet you have forgotten who it serves. The shaman stepped forward without fear. You have come to the wrong place, creature. He laughed. Not loudly, almost sadly. The wrong place? He slowly looked around the gathering. You have spent generations bringing offerings, and yet you no longer recognize the one who receives them. His eyes settled on the shaman. You speak in my name, without ever asking what I desired. The water around her ankles suddenly rose. She gasped. The sea wrapped around her legs. Then, with effortless force, it pulled her to her knees. She struggled. She couldn't move. The others stood frozen. No one dared help her. No one even breathed. The creature watched her quietly. Only then did he begin to change. The monstrous form dissolved. Blue light folded inward. Once again, the young man stood before them. He brushed a strand of wet hair behind his ear and calmly surveyed the ceremony. It has been a very long time. His eyes moved from the dancers, to the torches, to the carefully prepared offering. You have preserved the ceremony. A small pause. But you have forgotten its purpose. He looked toward the woman chosen for the ritual. I have grown weary of the offerings chosen for me. Silence swallowed the shoreline. Then he smiled. A real smile this time. This ritual belongs to me. So this time, I will choose. The creature's eyes never left the shaman. Rise. The water released her immediately. She stood, soaked and trembling. Not from fear, from humiliation. Before everyone she had led, she had been brought to her knees. She straightened her ceremonial robes, trying desperately to recover what little dignity remained. After a long silence, she finally spoke. Does this not violate the covenant our ancestors made with you? His glowing eyes slowly turned toward her. The warmth vanished from them. You question me. The entire shoreline became silent. The shaman lowered her head. I would never presume to question you. A slow smile crossed his face. Good. He turned away from her. His gaze swept across the gathered women. Immediately, panic spread through the crowd. Some lowered their heads. Others clasped trembling hands together. Soft whispers filled the air. Please, not me. Please, choose someone else. Please. The creature continued walking slowly along the shoreline. Every woman he passed held her breath. Then, he stopped. He slowly raised one hand. My chosen one is her. His finger pointed across the water. I frowned. Who? Then I realized. He was pointing directly at me. Me? Every head turned. Hundreds of eyes followed the direction of his hand. Another wave of gasps swept through the crowd. The women who had been praying only moments before let out quiet breaths of relief. One by one, their fear disappeared, until confusion replaced it. Who is she? I've never seen her before. She isn't from our village. She's an outsider. Murmurs spread rapidly through the gathering. This isn't part of the covenant. The agreement has always been one of our own. If word spreads, our secret will die with it. This could destroy everything. The voices grew louder. The creature didn't even look at them. My choice. His voice echoed across the cove. It was not yours to debate. Silence. Then louder. She is my choice. Not another voice dared challenge him. The entire shoreline fell silent. Meanwhile, I was trying very hard not to panic. Why did I think I'd get away with this? I should have stayed in bed today. Actually, I should have slept another 12 hours. The world suddenly tilted. Wait. Everything felt strangely light. My legs no longer wanted to cooperate. Why am I so dizzy? Is this because of the bond? A terrible thought entered my mind. Am I trapped with him forever? How do I even... The sentence never finished. The world went black. A loud splash echoed across the cove. For a heartbeat, no one moved. The creature simply watched the place where I'd fallen into the water. Then, the corner of his mouth lifted into the faintest smirk. Almost as if he'd expected exactly that to happen. The crowd stood frozen. No one dared move. Only one person did. June stepped forward without hesitation, scooping her from the sea as though she weighed nothing at all. Water dripped from her clothes as her head rested against his shoulder. June turned back toward the shaman. She folded her hands inside her sleeves. There is something you must understand. Her voice was calm now. The world above has changed. You cannot simply take a woman and disappear into the sea. June frowned. What do you suggest? Leave my chosen one. The shaman sighed. She must choose you. Otherwise, one, it is kidnapping. A few elders exchanged awkward looks, and she is clearly a foreigner. If she disappears, people will come looking. The authorities. The police. Our secrecy would end. June looked down at Reyna sleeping peacefully in his arms. Fine. I will earn her trust. The shaman nodded. You have 3 days to help me convince her. She looked back up. Why only 3? The bond I created was incomplete. It can only remain stable for 3 days. After that, and it will begin rejecting the both of us. Silence settled over the gathering. One elder finally asked, how did any of this happen? June thought quietly. I was watching. As I always do. I remain near every ritual. I observe. This time, something unexpected happened. He looked toward the dark water. She entered the sea. I startled her. A long pause. She died. His expression became thoughtful. I do not know why. but I could not allow her to remain dead. The women quietly exchanged glances. One younger woman whispered just loudly enough for everyone to hear. Was it love at first sight? Every head slowly turned toward June. Love? The word seemed unfamiliar. I wished for her to live. I did not wish for her to die. I do not understand your question. The older women exchanged knowing smiles. The shaman pinched the bridge of her nose. Ignore them. She looked back at him. We will help her understand. But she must make the choice herself. June nodded. I will take her. He adjusted Reina carefully. The shaman immediately interrupted. Not alone. He stopped. She needs women. She must be bathed. Her clothes changed. She should not wake frightened beside a strange man. June considered that. I had not thought of that. The shaman almost smiled. I know. I will send women I trust. After a long silence, he nodded. Very well. The shaman stepped aside. For all our sakes, I hope she chooses willingly. June disappeared into the darkness with Reina in his arms. The waves slowly swallowed them both. She exhaled. It was a dream. Another breath. Good. Just a dream. Outside, a figure stood quietly beneath the window, watching. She never noticed. A knock echoed through the house. 3 slow knocks. She groaned. Seriously? Another knock. She stumbled downstairs, opening the door just enough to peek outside. 3 older women stood waiting, all smiling politely. One greeted her in Korean, 안녕하세요, then immediately switched to English. You're American, aren't you? Hi. Yes. Reina rubbed her eyes. Look, I don't want to buy anything, and I desperately need more sleep. She slowly started closing the door. The eldest woman calmly placed a hand against it. You have questions. Reina froze. The woman smiled gently. I'm sure of it. I'm actually good. Reina tried closing the door again. The woman's expression softened. Those weren't dreams. The smile disappeared from Reina's face. They were memories. Silence. Real memories. Reina slowly stepped backward. Fear crept across her face. No. The woman took 1 step forward. Don't you want to know why you didn't die?